We're gonna start in dead bug because balance is all about finding the alignment, right? And also activating all the muscles of your core, right? Because that's what attaches our upper part to our lower part. So obviously, if you don't have a nice strong or aware, I won't even say strong, because you don't have to have the strongest core to have good balance. You just need to have an awareness of what's firing. So we're gonna build that awareness now. So go ahead and lie down on your backs. Hopefully you're comfy. And then just lift your legs up into rooftop. We're so familiar with this. Push your spine into the ground. Pull your belly button in. And I know we're all familiar with this from our core work in barre. Luckily, we didn't do this today, so I'm not repeating. And reach your arms up. And then I want you to grab with your left hand, grab your right forearm. And then you can go ahead and drop your left foot for now. And we're going to do a little mobility. So I want you to have your hand like a blade. Your foot is pointed in plantar flexion. And then you're going to take your hand down, it's pointed down, and you're going to take your hand and foot out to the left. And you can feel the inside, your posterior tibialis is activating. Lift your foot and hand up, and you're trying to get to your end range. Come over to the right, and then point it down to the right. And then come through, smooth it out to the left, point it down, pointing it in, lift it up, and out to the right. Now switch directions. And it's important that you're not bending from your fingers or just from your toes. I have to kind of bend my toes, but ideally you would have your toes relaxed, and this would only be coming from your ankle and your wrist. And we're just doing those circles. Nice job. Let's switch. So hold your forearm so that you don't cheat and move your forearm. Lift your left leg. Come in. So we're all coming in and we're pointing down. So our hands pointing down, our foot's pointing down, and then we're going to make a circle over to the left. And then come up. And you might get some cracks out of your wrist or your ankles. That is great. Point it down. And when you're pointing it down and in, you want to feel the inside here. That's your posterior tibialis. That's really going to help the arch of your foot. And obviously, foot strength is a big part of balance, right? And switch directions. Okay, and then back to that rooftop. Okay, have your left hand on your ribs. I want you to squeeze your ribs together as you push your spine into the ground. Your tailbone is going to lift a little bit, and you're going to reach your right arm up. And I want you to keep your ribs smushed together like they're kissing, right? And then you're going to lower your left leg only as far as you can without lifting your low back off the ground and without your ribs jutting out. So that's why your hand is there. Open your arm back. And then come back in. We'll do that again. And you can straighten that right leg, but what I don't want you to do is pull the right leg in, okay? Because that's going to give you too much of a crutch. You want to have your knee right over your hip as you're doing this, and do it with the breath. So we're going to inhale to come up and exhale to open. Inhale to come up. Exhale, and your job is to really focus on your breath, because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, and so you need to know movements that come up are inhaling, movements that go down are exhaling. One more time, and then back up. Right hand comes to your ribs. Same thing, you want to have your knee over your hip. You're going to lower your right leg and your left arm and come up. So this is like our spinal balance that we do on our knees, but in reverse. And the movement's going to match your breath, and bring all your awareness to your spine. That's your external feedback, right? It's telling you, oh, you're lifting up off the ground, your leg is going too low, you got to just take it forward a little bit less, right? And your hands on your ribs are external feedback, but eventually we're not going to need that, right? Those are external feedbacks. They're great tools, and really the first tools that we use, and then eventually it's all internal feedback. So let's lift up both hands, both legs, and we're going to start with the right arm, left leg. Open up and close. Open, exhale, inhale. One more time this side. And don't worry worry about matching the exhale with the opening and the inhale with the closing, because it doesn't really matter actually. It's wherever you feel the most effort, naturally that's where you're going to want to exhale. One more on this side. Beautiful. And then both legs are just going to lower. I want both hands on the ribs, and we're just going to lower and hold for 3 breaths. So you're coming down as low as you can without lifting your low back off the ground. Beautiful. Set your heels down, lift your toes. Keep your knees close together, so just a few inches apart. And then we're going to lift up, all the way up, so high back dancing. I know we did this today for the push. Oh, I felt it. I hope you guys all have a ball because it feels so much harder with the ball. We're just going to hold our glute bridge here, our back dancing, hold. And now, if it's okay, you're going to come onto the toes of your right foot. Okay, and your hands are going to come down. And you're going to have a lot more weight on your right shoulder because we're going to lift our right leg up. Okay, now it could just come up a few inches, right? And you're just feeling that in your left leg. And so instead of just building strength here, we're actually going to coordinate with our breath and movement. So maybe you inhale to come down. Oh, we're doing something different. And exhale to come up. Because like I said, the most important thing is the exhales on the upper. Now you can take this a little more. You could bend your knee and straighten and take it forward. So it's your choice. You could come just an inch off the ground, or you could do what I'm doing, because this is mimicking what we're going to do in our balance poses. We push down with our foot, right? One more, just like this. Hold it. Take a breath in. And set that down. Set your seat back down. How are you all doing? We're going to do the other side, so you're pushing down with your right heel. And then you're going to come onto the toe of your left foot. Come up. Glute bridge. And remember, you can just lift up like this, or you can do this with me. We're going to exhale as we step. Inhale. Actually, let's switch that so that we mimic what we're going to be doing in a second. So let's inhale on the push out, or the lift up, and exhale as we pull it. So it's like we're stepping. And let's do one more. So you might find that one side is stronger. That's okay. We are asymmetrical. It's just nice to know that. And then hold your leg out. Take a breath. Exhale to come down. How did that feel? Come onto your belly. And we'll stretch out our abdominals here in a Sphinx pose. You want to lift your kneecaps off the ground. Squeeze your booty. Pull the floor back and bring your heart, open it, like you're opening up a window, and you're opening and you're shining your sunshiny heart out the window. And this is going to be in your upper back, which in back bends is really what we want to do. We don't want to come from our lower back. So squeeze your glutes, push your pubic bone down. Hopefully you have a good mat, or maybe you have like a pillow underneath your pubic bone. I always like to have a pillow or one of those gardening things for your knees. Hold it there. And then come onto your knees, and let's just open up our shoulders, because they tend to get really tight, and drop your heart. Kiss the ground with your heart. And just like we did on Tuesday, your hips are over your knees, and you can look forward and get a little bit more there. You can finger stand your hands. We're just going to stay here for several breaths, because like I said, for flexibility changes, you guys stay. For flexibility changes, you really want to have at least 30 seconds. Cynthia, Janet, Maylee, Lori, I love it. So many people dancing with me. Yoga is like a dance. You know, life is really like, when these things happen, it's like it's a storm. And we have a choice, right? We could just wait for the storm to pass, put everything on hold, put, our feelings on hold, try and not experience anything by being really, really productive. Or we can just open up the window, open up our hearts, and dance in the rain. And that's really what these body practices are about. It's not about exercising to distract yourself. It's about going deep into your body. Practices like barre, Pilates, yoga, they offer us this inward exploration of our breath, especially in balance poses like we're going to do today. So thank you for joining me and dancing in the rain with me. We're going to come up, and now you guys have a choice. You can be in tabletop for what we're going to do next, or you can be in prone, and I'm just going to move back here so you can see my whole body. So if you're in tabletop, that will be because it hurts your low back, or you have some sort of, maybe you have a lot of tightness in your hip flexors and you just can't feel your glutes because it's very hard for you to do this. We're going to stay in tabletop in that case. Otherwise, no problem. If you feel no problem, you come to prone, push your pubic bone down, pretend you have a strawberry underneath your belly button, all right? And then reach your hands forward. And then we're just gonna focus now on the arms for a second. Actually, let's do the same thing. Let's do spinal balance again. Let's focus on our right arm and our left leg, and we're gonna lift those simultaneously. So for the first part, I want you to put your forehead down, or if you have a pillow, and I really want you to focus on straightening your limbs. Thumbs are going to be up, toes are pointed back, both knees are lifted off the ground, both cheeks are squeezed in your glutes, and you're going to lift your right arm, left leg, hold it, breathe here. And then just think or feel how your belly is making contact with the ground. Can you lift your belly up a little bit more? And when you do that, you should be feeling this a lot more in your left glutes. Lift your arm a little higher, a little straighter. Really focus on straightening those knees and elbows. 2 more breaths. Set that down. How'd you do? Now let's do the left side. So left arm, right leg, okay? We're doing contralateral. Forehead is down. We're focusing just on extending those elbows and knees. Lift up, push your pubic bone into the ground. Get light on your belly and breathe here. 5 breaths. Can you lift your arm a little higher without bending your elbow? Can you lift your thigh a little bit more off the ground without bending your knee? You've got this. 2 more breaths. Make sure it's not coming from your back. And then set that down. Now we're going to check. We're going to have to manually check because sometimes we're like, oh, it's not coming from our back. So let's take our right hand, put it on your back. I know that's like a little bit of a mobility challenge. You can switch to your left. I don't care. I just want you to get that feedback. So I want you to put the top of your hand on your erector spinae. You're going to feel those. They feel like 2 ropes on either side of your spine. Those are great muscles, but they can get really overactive. I like to think of them as like the super smart student, like a Hermione Granger. God, I love Harry Potter. It's ridiculous. So, you know, raising their hand every time, I can do it, I can handle it, no problem, no problem. And the glutes are like the slacker, like a surfer dude, and they're just like, okay, fine, well, you're gonna handle it, no problem, answer away. But we really want our little surfer dude to get in there, because he's a big guy. So put your hand on your back, feel your erector spinae, push your pubic bone down, make a little room for your strawberry, and now lift your left arm, hold it, and now lift your right leg. And then does your erector and spinae pop up? If it's popping up, it's being a little smart aleck, you know? It's overachieving. We don't need it to overachieve. So really take that posterior tilt a little more seriously. And don't worry about your leg not lifting up as high. And then now move your hand to your glute. Is it firing? Squeeze your glute. See if you can really activate that before your erector spinae. So now we're going to try that again. You're going to lift your arm, your left arm, right leg, put your hand on your glute and see, maybe if you can put the tops of your fingers on your glute and one thumb on your erector spinae, see if you can fire your glute before your erector spinae raises her hand and says, I got the answer, I can do it. Hold that there. And now you're gonna lift your head, and we're gonna lift from our upper back. So what we did in Sphinx. You wanna feel this over here in your upper back. Straighten out that arm, straighten out that leg, hold it here. 2 more breaths, yes we can. Do the work, take the risks. Dance in the rain. Come on down. How was that? Come up to Sphinx so that you find that space in your back. That's where we want to bend from here. And we want to keep that belly pulled in and our pubic bone pushed down, okay? Now let's try the other side. So we're going to reach our right arm forward, take the top of our left hand onto our rector spinae, and then we want to make those ropes disappear by getting a nice posterior tilt. When we do that posterior tilt, the erector spinae starts to flatten. And then lift your left leg and your right arm with the thumb up, straighten out those limbs, really extend the elbow and the knees. And you can keep your forehead down for this first one. And breathe here, 5 breaths. Yes, we can. See if your erector spinae can go away. If it's popping up, posterior tilt a little bit more. It's still going to be active. We want it to be active, but we don't want it to take over. 1 more breath. And come down. Okay, so now you can take your hand to your left glute, and we're going to check. You can have your thumb just on your erector spinae there, and you're going to see if your glute fires before your erector spinae. Go ahead and lift, hold that, 5 breaths. Posterior tilt is prime importance here. Beautiful, 3 more breaths. Yes, we can. This is so important. Lift your chest. Lift up from your upper back. Keep your gaze down. No need to look at me. Lift your belly button. 1 more breath. Beautiful. Come down. Take a child's pose.
My skin was good, my nose was thin. This is no movie I'd ask to be in. Nobody like you.
Beautiful. So now let's do a plank, just to kind of bring that all together. Plank is, one that we do so much in bars, so I just want you to find that awareness in plank as well. So you want to have a posterior tilt. And then another thing about balance is our head, right? If our head, today we're going to move in the sagittal plane, which is the forward-backwards plane in our balance. On Tuesday we did a lot of lateral plane balancing, which, I think is a little bit harder. So today we're going to regress, because we regress to progress, right? That should get like a bumper sticker. I love regressing to progress. So now we're going to do plank. Hands down, step back, lift the back of your head, right? You want to have your shoulders pulled back, but it's really important to lift the back of your head and to not have it tilted to the left or right. And then hold your plank. Squeeze your legs straight. Pull your belly in. Breathe here. Find a little calm in the chaos. 1 more breath. Beautiful. Back to child's pose. So hopefully when we were doing that raising of the arms, you felt the difference between lifting your shoulders and retracting and depressing. I know we talked a little bit about that on Tuesday, but when you lift your shoulders, it's a compensation, and it can throw our balance off. We really want to have all of our core, all the way up our spine, our core and just what's around it, really, really like in control, and a lot of cohesion between everything. So pull your shoulders down so you activate your low and middle traps. Pull your arms back. So just sit up on your heels and try that. Feel the difference between raising your shoulders and pulling your shoulders down your back and pulling your arms back. And that's like you're squeezing a lemon between your shoulder blades. If your arms are too close together, it's not going to be possible, so open up your arms a little bit more into a Y. Try that. Protraction, retraction of the scapula. We're looking to retract right now. And set that down. So we've broken down everything for our peak pose. We're going to come standing. That's how we're going to do our balancing today. And let's work on our toes, because obviously that's a big part, our feet. So I want everybody to stand up, and then while relaxing your other 4 toes, you're gonna lift your big toes. So I'm gonna scoot back so you guys can see. And then just check them out. Maybe you're really white knuckling your other 4 toes, all right? That's a compensation. We want to see if we can disassociate the big toes from the other toes. So hold that up and breathe. And let's try that with our breath. So exhale, big toes down. Inhale, big toes up. Exhale, and when you do this, notice the other toes. See if you can keep them relaxed. One more time. This is the boring part of yoga, right? But it's also very interesting. Keep your big toes down, lift your 4 toes up, each side. So all 8 toes are up, and just hold that and breathe here. So now we're working the lateral arches. So when we lifted our big toes, we were working the medial arches, what we always think of as the arch of our foot. That is really important to have that strong, but it's equally important to have the lateral arches of our feet strong. Go ahead and lower your toes, and then with your breath, lift your 4 toes, and exhale, send them down. Inhale, lift. See if you can do it without looking. I know I'm looking, I'm gonna stop looking. See if you can create that inner awareness, that internal feedback. So when we look, we're creating external feedback. But balance really is about creating proprioception, so the awareness of our body and space without sight. So balance comes together when we have sight, proprioception, strengthening, but you should be able to close your eyes. So just try closing your eyes and lifting your toes. And now lift all 10 toes. Send the 4 toes down. Keep your eyes closed. Lift the 4 toes, send your big toes down. Lift your big toes, send your 4 toes down. Lift 10 toes, big toes down. Set all 10 toes down. We're gonna piano toes. I don't play the piano, but I like to play the piano with my toes. So go ahead and lift all 10 toes. Lower your pinkies. Lower the next toes, whatever those are called. 3rd toes, 4th toes, big toes down. Okay, we're gonna try that in reverse. Big toes, next toes, 3rd toes, 4th toes, last toes. All 10 toes are now up. Let's reverse that. Pinky toes down, next toes down, just the next toes. Are they like BFF? They don't wanna separate. Big toes, next toes, see if they can be loners. Next toes. Come on, guys. Don't be a click. Next toes. All 10 toes up. Wonderful. Now shorten your feet. That's going to look like your arch is going to lift, and so you're going to pull your heel in towards your toes, and you're going to really feel this in your posterior tibialis, what we just worked when we did our ankle mobility. You're trying to shorten your foot. Think of it as your heel coming closer to your toes. Try and shorten them. So now we're working the transverse arch in our feet. Really important for balance. So all of these arches, we need them. We at least need to be aware of them for our balance, okay? Awesome. All right, let's move our bodies again. So everybody come to chair pose. I'm going to show you from the side. You guys can stay facing the camera. You're going to sit back, and your knees are going to be over your shoelaces, and then you're going to reach your arms up. Retract and depress your shoulders. Look up. And then forward fold from your hips without rounding your back. You're just straightening out your legs, forward folding, or maybe you have to keep your knees bent a little bit. And then back up. And again, this is going to come from your erector spinae. See if it can come more from your glutes. So I know the erector spinae is like, I got it, don't worry, big old glutes. We're trying to come from our glutes into chair, back into our forward fold. Let's do one more time for good measure. And then breathe here in your chair. Maybe you have a bar stool. Try and aim for a preschooler's chair. Pull your arms back, straighten out your elbows. Pull your shoulders down your back. 2 more breaths, yes we can. Dancing in the rain. Last one, forward fold. Take a ragdoll, cross your elbows. Jog out your legs. Just release your back because I know that erector spinae is still working hard. And then we're going to continue flowing. So let's just step our left leg back. Put your hands on your hips to begin. So our first balance. And come up with your knees in 90-90. This is familiar to us because this is a bar pose. We are in upright lunge. Now really squeeze your thumb into your left glute and activate it. Turn it on. Well, it's always on, but create some awareness so that it turns a little bit more on. Right now it's like a dim light. See if it can be a bright light. And then hinge forward. So now we're in hinge lunge. Again, very familiar to us because of bar. So what happens in hinge lunge, and here you can look at me, is that sometimes we drop our hip, right? It's the same problem in standing. You want to squeeze your butt, lift it up so that your pelvis is level, and then come back up. And then feel your right big toe. Can you shorten that foot? Can you drag your feet towards each other? Squeeze, make a wrinkle in the carpet in between your legs, and come forward, hinge lunge. Back up, upright lunge. One more time. Notice your glutes. Notice your feet squeezing together. And then reach your arms straight out. You're still in that 90-90 with your knees. Open up to the right into a twist. Close. Come up, straighten your legs. Take a break. Bend your knees, arms forward. Squeeze that left glute. It doesn't want to get lazy. Open up to the right. Come forward, and you can stand. Squeeze that left glute. Back down. Open up. Squeeze. And then we're going to reach our arms up. So we're going to put together that flow. Reach your arms up. Straighten your back leg. Squeeze that left glute like crazy. This is your first balance. It's crescent. I know it may not feel like much of a balance, but if this is your challenge, this is what I want you to work on. You just lower your arms, straighten your legs. That's plenty. If you have really good balance and you want to train a little bit harder, you are going to take your arms forward, and I'll show you from the side, and you're going to straighten out that front leg. So right now you're like this, you're like this in crescent. You're going to straighten out that front leg and bend the back leg. Lean back like you're in water ski, and then come back up. Back. We didn't do water ski today, so do some here. Although we did thigh dancing, which in my opinion is much harder. Come back to that water ski. Back up. And then we'll switch sides. How was that? So we're going to come to hinge with our left foot forward, both knees bent, and the hands on hips. And then you come forward into hinge. Lift and squeeze that right glute. Come back up to upright hinge. And then just notice your feet. Squeeze them together. Hinge forward. Squeeze your legs together like you're trying to wrinkle the carpet. Come back up. One more time forward. Back up. Stay where you are. We're going to twist open to the left. So reach your arms forward. Open up on an inhale. Close on an exhale. And then we can come up, relax. Bend your knees, open. Exhale, straighten your legs. Bend, open. Exhale, straighten. Now we're going to take crescent, so that means the back leg is going to stay straight while we're still scooping our tailbone under like a posterior tilt like we did in prone. So it's a bit of a challenge. You're going to feel the right front of your hip opening up. Reach your arms up. Retract to press. Yes, we can. And then your challenge is to either just straighten your legs and come back up and notice your toes. Notice the arches of your feet. You want to challenge a little harder. Bend the back knee. Come forward with your arms and then reach them up. And then you really want to feel that front foot shortening. Come back one more time. Beautiful, forward fold. Cross your arms, take a ragdoll. And now we're gonna add on. We have the awareness of our feet, of our toe, our big toe pushing down, shortening our feet. And most important, I think, is that hip. Once that hip drops and you do this, then you lose your balance, right? Because you need to counterbalance. And if all the weight is on this side, then you're gonna counterbalance by falling to the side. Maybe you fall just a little bit, but we can control that. So you're gonna tighten up that opposite hip. So if this foot is forward, that back glute has to contract because then it sends the energy up because this energy is going down with the bend, right? So we're counterbalancing. And life is all about counterbalancing, right? So I'll show you from the front. Take a breath in. Exhale into your chair. Sit here. Inhale. Exhale. You're gonna lift your left foot. Step it back. Back leg's gonna be straight. Come up to crescent. And then open and twist to the right. Exhale. Inhale, arms come back up. Exhale, warrior one. Now, what's gonna happen with that left glute? We're gonna contract it and we're gonna lift it, right? It's gonna wanna drop, but we're balancing by lifting up on the left side. Reach forward. You can take your hands to your hips or you can reach your arms forward, holding that balance. See if you can have no shakes. What needs to be turned on? Your core, your left glute, the arch of your foot. Beautiful. Come on back. And then we're gonna open up to warrior two. So how we're gonna do that is we're gonna drop the left heel. We're gonna turn on the ball of our back foot. Keep that glute squeezed. Turn on the ball of our back foot. Our front leg didn't move. Open up, gaze forward. Feel that sweet opening in our hips. And now we're gonna turn again. So the ball of, let's come onto the heel of our right foot. That front foot, we're gonna pivot on the heel, okay? Back leg's not gonna move, except we're gonna bend the knee. Come back. Lift the right toes. Pivot on that right heel as you bend your left knee. Set your seat way back. We're in that skater lunge, or in yoga we call it skandasana. Stay low as you transfer over to the right with an inhale. Stay low as you transfer over and exhale. Back over to the right. Heel drives down, lift your toes. It's a dance. Back up to crescent. So now we're gonna come onto the ball of the back foot. This is where it gets tricky. Squeeze your left glute. The reason it gets tricky is because we've relaxed, right? We were in that flex position. When we're flexed, boom, our glutes don't need to fire so much. Then we go from a flex position to a quick extension, like what we do in prone, and that is firing the glutes like crazy. So if you lose your balance in this transition, it's because of that, right? So you just need to be aware. Boom. Quick pivot to that firing of the left glutes. Reach your arms up. Beautiful, come forward. Relax. We're gonna take this a little bit faster for those of you who are like, this is painfully slow. But those of you who want to take it slower, this is your pace. You make this your practice because that is what yoga is all about. It's about knowing your body and going deep inside your body. So now we're going to do the other side. So now you're going to step your right, let's come to chair first. Come to chair, sit back. Sink in, take a breath here. And if you have tight gastrocnemius, tight soleus, actually I have a really tight soleus muscles, then your heels are going to want to lift, right? You could just put a book under your heels for another day, not now. Lift your right foot, step it back. Crescent, back leg is straight. You're coming upright, squeezing that right butt cheek, right? Your body knows. Open up your left arm, twist on an exhale. And then return on an inhale. Prepare for that warrior three. you're gonna push into the heel of your front foot. And instead of using momentum, use strength. And squeeze your right butt cheek. Balance out those hips. Lots of fire, because your right leg is very heavy. And so it's up to your glute to fire up and lift that leg. You can take your hands to your hips, reach them forward, and then exhale, come back to your crescent and open up to warrior two. So that means you're gonna turn on the back foot of the ball of your back foot, land on your heel. Beautiful, stay here. And then here we're in flexion, right? We're gonna stay in flexion, so this transition may not be too hard, because you're gonna turn on the left heel, lift your toes of your left foot, turn them and bend your right knee, sit back into a side squat. You can bring your hands to prayer. And then over to the left on an inhale. Stay low, the lower the harder it is. To the right. To the left. Now here's where it gets tricky, because right now our glute is relaxed. We are going to lift the toes of the left foot and then really start to engage our external rotators of our left foot. Turn the ball of the right foot, boom, glutes, hello. Reach up, those right glutes are firing, and then come forward. How is that? I want to take it a little bit faster. Hey, Christina. Cocked out twins, yes, I know. Do you guys like my playlist? Let me know if you like it. All right, so now we're gonna go not necessarily faster. I'm gonna add in something. So those of you, I'm gonna say stay here, or I'm gonna say, okay, we're gonna add in a little bit more, because that's all balancing is. You pick a pose that is the centerpiece. In this case, it's our crescent, and then you can play. Then you can dance, right? So now we're gonna dance, because we didn't get to dance on the left side, so I'm gonna do that, what I call arrowhead. So we're gonna come to chair, sit back, we're gonna do the right side, okay? And yoga, incidentally, we always start with the right. It's really, really bad. I prefer Yolo Barre where we switch every week, but just so you know, rule of thumb, it's always the right for some reason. Lift your right foot, take it back, notice your front leg, squeeze your right butt cheek, because boom, we are in a back bend, we're in extension, but it's a back bend from here, not from your low back, it's a back bend from your butt. Reach up, open up, twist to the left. And when you twist to the left, try and squeeze your legs together. You know how we do those squeezes in barre? That's gonna help you create some core stability. Come back, reach your arms up. Warrior three, try and push into your front foot. Don't just use momentum. You're gonna actually come onto the top of your back foot until you can just gracefully lift it up. Your glute is driving it up. Yes, you can. Breathe here. This is your balancing pose. Notice the arch of your foot. Are you shortening it? Is your right glute firing? We are in prone, except we have one foot down. So this is familiar to us. Bend your front knee. Yes, we can. Bend it slowly. Come into crescent. Now here's where I want you to either stay and you can open up into twist and practice that, or you can play warrior three, practice that. So either way, crescent is your stability. I'm gonna give you guys a few more options if you're yoga experts and you wanna play. So we come up in crescent with our arms, and then you bend the back knee, straighten out the front leg. Come back up 2 more times. And then how do we do this? What is flexing? What is extending? This leg, that back leg is extending. So we really want to squeeze that right butt and lift the hip up. It may drop. Let's try that one more time, because it is a new pose. It's not very common in yoga, but I like to use it. Amazing. Come to crescent. You can twist here. You could open up to the left. You could even come into a crescent twist. Straighten out that back leg. Pull that left hip back. Oh, so beautiful. Come back up to crescent. Now, you can take a forward fold like this, or you can vinyasa. When you come down, I want you to you're coming in through a hinge lunge. We're so familiar with this. All the weight is in your left leg. You put your hands, you step back, Now we're in plank. We know this so well. We're gonna come down. Now we're in prone. Lift like you did in Sphinx, but using your hands instead of your elbows, back to down dog. So we did the right. I want you to feel what it feels like to step through on the left. Bring your knee into your chest, step it through, and then you're gonna push. Wait, we already did the left, right? No, we did. Okay. For some reason I feel like we did, so we're gonna switch. I'm gonna switch to the right. Yes. I must have done the left foot forward, so sorry about that. So, come up, push into your right foot. Use your glute to come up. Don't use your erector spinae. Come up, reach your arms up. Crescent, so good. Let's open up to a twist. Open up to the right. Exhale, close that. Reach your arms up, inhale. We're gonna come to warrior. So squeeze your legs together, fire up your left glute, come forward, using that push of the right heel to balance and hold it here. You can put your hands on your hips, you can reach your arms back, your choice. I want you to be aware of what is happening in your hips. What's happening in your right foot? You're going deep inside. It's an inward journey into your body. One more breath. Slowly bend that right knee. Slowly. Set that foot back. Reach up, crescent. Okay, I'm going to turn. And then Skandasana. So the back heel is going to come down. We pivot. Right? Bring it back up. We're just playing now. Pivot down. Back up. So we're pivoting on the ball of that back foot. Pivot down. Okay, so we're going to turn on the right heel. Right toes come up. They turn. Shift over to the left. We're in flexion with our hips. Our glutes are relaxed, right? Not really, because we're in squats. But they're not firing like they do in those prone poses. And we go back and forth until we come back to the front. Okay, let's practice that. Lift the right toes. Turn. Now the left side glute is starting to really fire. You're gonna come up to warrior two. Straighten out that back leg. Now we're gonna pivot. So right now, your glute may be relaxed. Try and fire it up. Anticipate the movement. Turn onto the ball of your left foot. Come up, crescent. And let's just for good measure come into plank again. And then to that locust pose or prone. Down. Let's come up into a locust and hold it. Reach your arms back, retract to press, squeeze your legs together, and then lift your belly off the ground. Look down. More breath. And press back, child's pose. So that's balancing mostly in the sagittal plane, which is front and back. Let's take it down. Let's take some passive stretching. I know that's what we all want to do in yoga, but gotta do balancing. Balance work every day. So let's work out all sides of our legs because we did thigh dancing this morning and that stuff hurts. Let's stretch out the fronts of our toes. Let's come into plantar flexion. So you push your hands into the ground. Lift your knees. You're stretching out the fronts of your toes. You may want to have some hooks because it does require a lot of hip flexion. Otherwise, you can just kind of lean back and lift your knees up. Take a breath. We're just stretching out the fronts of our feet. And come back down. If plantar flexion is your kryptonite, you can sit on like a bucket or something and then just work on that there. Like you could work like we do in hinge, right? So now we're gonna do a nice quad stretch. You can come with both legs bent, or if that's just not gonna work for you, straighten out your right leg, come to lie down on your left side, right hand grabs your left foot, lie down. If you like this idea, then you can really just come onto your foot And lie down like this. You don't want your knee too high off the ground now. We're aiming to stretch our quad, not our knees, because our knees don't really stretch. Take another breath. And then if you are bilateral, stay there, or else we're going to switch sides. So by bilateral, I mean both knees bent. You can stay with both knees bent. You're going to switch, left leg extends, right knee bends, lie back. Otherwise, both knees bent if you want one of those really long stretches for both quads. So we're stretching out the tops of our legs. Take 2 more breaths. We really need to find some spaces of peace right now. Anytime we get some new news or go out into the world, it can get pretty stressful. So this is where we have to go inward. Come on up. Turn your right knee out. Come into like a hurdler stretch with the heel of your foot close to your groin, but open up your ankle really wide and then forward fold. This is gonna be really a lot of work for your QL and your back. We didn't do a lot of lateral bending. So we can get really stiff. Yoga is wonderful for finding some peace, some space to breathe and slow down. And balance work especially is amazing for becoming more present because, you know, you need to be aware of so many things, as you just saw. Drop your left elbow, right arm over, because or else you're going to fall. You know, and if you're falling and learning, then you're becoming wiser. But if you're just falling over and over again, that's no fun. Then you're just defeated, right? So we want to learn, what do we need to be aware of? And what do we need to let go of, right? Those are the lessons from yoga that I love. I hope you're loving them. Open up your legs into a straddle. Come forward into a nice pancake. I don't know why it's called pancake, but in gymnastics they call this pancake. In yoga we call it Upavishta Konasana. A wide ankle fold. Take a breath. Rise on up. Bend your left knee, and then we're going to forward fold over the right leg. So we're getting into our hamstrings, right? With our left leg, you want to really straighten out that left leg, or that right leg, sorry, that right leg, straighten it out, but we're also getting a nice back stretch. And the more we do this, the less painful stretching becomes. Then we actually start to enjoy it, right? It's like getting into a hot tub. You know, initially it's a little bit like, ooh, I don't think I want to get in there. It's a little hot. And then after a little bit of sweating, you're like, I never want to get out. Drop your right elbow, reach over with your left arm, side bend. Let me know in the comments if this is your first time doing yoga, what you liked, what you'd like to see more of, what you want to regress, because I love to regress, like I say, regress to progress. Let me know if you want some options to move on and get a little bit more challenge. And then we're going to cross, so keep that left knee bent. We're going to cross our right leg over our left knee. And then what happens is we tend to hike up our right hip. I want you to take your right thumb and push it down, like, hey buddy, stay down there. Hug your right leg and twist to the right. Give your legs a little bit of love. We have so much to be grateful for, and our bodies are paramount in that we have functioning bodies that allow us to move freely. They move control. One of the biggest inspirations I have is my brother, who had cerebral palsy, and he could not control his body. We always had to give him relaxants to control all of his spastic movements. And so take your elbow to the outside of your right knee, deep in your stretch, deep in your twist, look over your right shoulder. So when we have a working body, we don't want to take that for granted. It is a huge blessing. Huge. I always think of my brother, that he would be like, you know, what a dummy you are. You're not exercising. You're not taking advantage. Look at me. I want to get out of this wheelchair. I want to be able to control my body. So he's one of my greatest inspirations. Switch over. Bend your left knee. Right leg comes over. Hug that in. And then, oops, now I'm doing the same one. Opposite. Right knee, left. I talk about Alfredo and I forget what I'm talking about. Push down with your left hip and twist. But yeah, I mean, we have so much to be grateful for. And yoga really helps us feel more, feel parts of our bodies that, you know, we're lying dusted, covered in dust in shadowed corners, right? When we feel that, we feel more alive. Go ahead and take your elbows to the outside. Take your elbow to the outside of your left knee. Twist a little further. Look over your left shoulder. So this is a spinal twist, and it's also a big stretch for our external rotators, especially our piriformis, which can get overactive and cause sciatica symptoms. Sit up tall. 2 more breaths here. Come down. Let's take that same twist. Pull your right knee in. Take it over to the left. And again, you can take your right thumb, push it into the crease of your right hip, push it down as you look right. Once you feel, okay, I'm good, you can open up your right arm, or you can keep pushing your thumb into your crease, and that gives you like a bit of a stretch, like an inversion table. You're making space between the vertebrae. Breathe into the space you're creating in your body. Sides. Left knee comes in. Hug it in. Thank your body. Pull your knee off to the right. Take your left thumb. Push it down. See if you can get a little bit of a spinal lengthening first. And then open up your left arm and look left as you twist to the right. Both shoulders. Excuse me. Both shoulders on the ground. Glad I'm on camera, not in front of you. Yeah, I had terrible allergies, and right now I swear I'm so embarrassed going out because, I mean, I wear a mask, but still people are like, don't run away from me. Take a breath. And come into your final rest, your Shavasana. Palms up. Spread your legs, spread your arms. You can come up to a wall. Take a breath in. Side out. And you guys stay seated. I'm just going to come up because I want to be able to face you guys one more time. I just want to leave you all with a positive message. We want to be able to look back at this period and know that we didn't give up. So don't give up on yourself. Continue to explore. Continue to dance in the rain. And thank you so much for joining me today. Please leave me comments. I appreciate so much Brianna and David giving me this opportunity to share yoga with you. I wish you all a beautiful weekend. Namaste.